Well, hello there, and welcome to this episode of the Terri Cole Show. I want to start with a question. How are you at disagreements or fights in your relationship? Are you good at fighting? Are you good at coming back after fighting? Because I find in my psychotherapy practice that people are very focused on whether they fight a lot, whether they don't fight, or some people will say, like, we're in a great relationship, we never fight. And I got to say, honestly, Vic and I don't fight, quote unquote, a lot. But it's not about how you fight, really. I mean, listen, we don't want to fight dirty, but it's more about what is the quality of the repair. Do you have the ability to repair after you have a disagreement or a disconnection? That's exactly what we're doing in today's episode of the Terri Cole Show, where I'm going to teach you how to create a repair kit before conflict hits. Make sense? So we're talking about rupture and repair. Before we get started, if you happen to be new to my YouTube channel, well, hello. Welcome. Introduce yourself in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified every time I roll out something new, which is every Tuesday and every Thursday. Thank you so much for your questions and your comments and your activity in this group. I love it. And if you love this group, you would probably love my community, which you can check out at terricole.com/TCM for Terri Cole membership, because we do this every week, but we do it live. So I have 4 Q&As a month, and it is a beautiful community. All right, let's move it on into today's episode. Okay, so let's start with most couples fight at some point or another. Right. Some do it very sort of calmly. I would say that's more mine and Vic's style. Maybe we're a little avoidant sometimes around conflict. But every close relationship hits turbulence. Right. This is just life on planet Earth, right? Conflict is not the problem. Right. The rupture itself isn't the issue. The repair is the issue. Right? So the real magic of secure, emotionally mature relationships isn't about avoiding conflict, even though it is so tempting to want to avoid conflict, at least for some people, me included. But it's about having the tools to come back together again and again. And we need to know each other to do that. So today, in this episode, we're talking all about the most underused and arguably, I would say maybe the most important relationship skill, which is effective repair. So repair starts long before the fight even happens, right? Because the myth is, okay, we'll figure it out. When it happens, we'll figure it out. But here's the truth. You can't build a bridge in the middle of the tsunami, right? In the middle of the storm. It's like we need to be proactive when it comes to repair. There's so many things that influence our ability to do this. So in the guide, I'll give you some questions that you can answer sort of about your own downloaded rupture and repair blueprint. I had to learn all of my ability to repair from scratch because I came from a family system that was completely avoidant when it came to repair. It was more pretending the thing didn't happen. It was more the next day. Even if there had been something that happened the night before, a problem, one of the kids got in trouble, one of my sisters ran away, whatever the thing was. But the next day, my mother would be like, do you want your eggs poached? Like, nobody would be talking about what the thing was. And so you know, as a child, you got the memo that says, we're not talking about this. And repair isn't just something that happens after conflict, right? It doesn't happen on its own usually. And so the repair itself, right, it happens in the quiet moments in the relationship, the connected spaces, the conversations where we learn what helps my partner feel safe again, right? Because think about what is happening during conflict. The disconnection is that we're both feeling unsafe right now in the relationship. What are the things that make it worse? Right? You might not even mean to make it worse, but if you don't know the wounds of your partner, you may not know that what you're doing is making it worse, or vice versa, right? So having this repair kit, as I call it, you want to create it before you need it, right? Because once you need it, when you need it in that moment, you won't have the time to create it then. So we have to be proactive. And I always recommend that for couples and close relationships of any kind, because repair is not exclusive to romantic relationships. Of course, we have conflicts with other people that we love, right? I had a situation with one of my sisters many years ago, my closest sister, and she said something that hurt my feelings, but that really hurt my feelings, which we also don't do that. We're not a dramatic family, so to speak, meaning there's not a lot of like fighting and making up. So again, you're not great at the repair. And whatever happened for her, and she was pregnant. I mean, I should probably like cut her some slack, but whatever. She hung up on me on the phone. And I see her all the time. She lives close. And I was like, we have to talk about this. And every time I would try to talk about it, she was like, listen, just forget it. Just let it go. It wasn't a big deal. And I was like, but it is a big deal. I cannot let it go until we talk about it. And finally, eventually, I like beat her into submission to do it. But her avoidance was so hardcore. And yet I was like, this is really negatively impacting our relationship. And she really is my best friend. So anyway, that was and this was decades ago. And we've gotten way better, as everyone's mental health gets better and coping skills get better, it's easier to navigate these sort of emotional, waters that if your family of origin didn't teach you how to do it, you're sort of out here on these streets by yourself trying to figure out without any skills. Anyway, that was just one time that I can remember really having to assert my need for the repair in order for the relationship to keep going. So for couples, let's just say, we're going to have a rupture and repair date night, right? So it's a repair kit date night. Why don't we call it that? Forget the rupture of it all. Repair kit date night is what it's going to be. So this is proactive, super powerful, and actually it can be surprisingly fun, believe it or not, because you're sitting down with your person, whether it's your sister or your partner, in a calm, connected, right? We're not doing this when we're in conflict because that doesn't make sense to do it. And we're asking the questions. And don't worry, all of this will be in the guide as well, right? What is your emotional shutdown style, right? When you feel threatened, is it fight, flight, freeze, fawn, right? And listen, if you're in a long-term relationship with someone, you know what it is, but you still need to talk about it. And then what makes you feel emotionally safe again after conflict? Is it the reconnecting? Is it Vic and I have this thing that we've had for many years because we've had a lot of conflict in raising kids together and having financial things and being held up at gunpoint. Like we've had a whole bunch of different traumatic experiences in the last 27 years. But one of the agreements that we've had early on is that if one of us is already sort of cracking up, so to speak, or having their own, mini nervous breakdown or upset about something, that the other person can't make it worse, right? We can't glom on and become more hysterical. If Vic is having a moment, my job is to contain and just let him vent or talk about what he needs to talk about. But it's almost like I can't mob onto it and be like, oh my God, yes, and now I'm freaking out too. That doesn't help. So our agreement is that only one person gets to lose it at a time, right? And I'm sure, everyone has their agreements, whether they're spoken or unspoken in relationships. But a lot of times we don't have this explicit conversation, right? Even just talking about your shutdown style. Even if you guys know it, talking about it is so powerful. What makes you feel emotionally safe again is so powerful. And hey, you might not know that right off the bat. These are things that the questions in the guide will help you really start to think about what makes you feel emotionally safe, right? Because this is both of you are participating in answering these questions. What is your repair language? Is it touch? Is it words? Is it time? Is it space? It's all different. I feel like for me and Vic too, I feel like we're both very touch oriented, that even if we're upset, if he reaches over to grab my hand, I let him, or I'll put my hand over him and put it on his leg. Like, no matter how mad I am about something, like, he's always my person. Do you know what I mean? Oh, why is that emotional? It just feels emotional right now as I'm saying it. But it's true. Like, there's nothing I'd be so mad at. I don't identify with couples who are like, like sometimes you just hate your person. I'd never hate my person. I don't. So maybe that's a different kind of, because I know there's all kinds of ways that people couple. I don't ever hate Vic. I really don't. And I don't even ever like super dislike him. I can be frustrated about something, but he's really always still like my top person, Anyway, I digress. Now back to, you'll be answering these under the blueprint area, which is, what did conflict and repair look like in your family system growing up? And I don't know about you, but I literally never saw any repair at all. I barely saw conflict, and when I did, there certainly was no repair. And what are the things not to do if you are spiraling? What are the things not to do, right? Like, never helpful for someone to be like, calm down, for me, right? No, thank you. That does not work, but you know what it is for you. So let's go into some examples, right? If someone has an abandonment trigger, let's just say, because again, what are we learning about what do we know about our people? Like, what are their emotional triggers? Everyone has it. So if your partner has an original injury that is abandonment oriented, something they've shared with you, rooted in childhood, could be family of origin, whatever. Now imagine that you're in a heated argument and you feel overwhelmed, but you grab your keys and you walk out the door just for space, right? No big deal. You're not trying to do anything. You just need to get out. But to them, right, that's not cooling off, which is what it might be to you. That could be confirmation of their deepest fear, right? Their nervous system goes into full alert, which is like, they're leaving. I'm being abandoned. I'm alone again. This is what's happening. Even though your intention might not be that, it might just be neutral. The impact for your partner could be devastating, which is why this repair kit is so helpful. So, what not to do during conflict, especially, right, if you haven't worked out the playbook. Here are some common ruptures that make repair even harder, or behaviors after conflict is what I think that we should call these. One is going silent for hours, right? Especially if your partner's wound is rejection, this can feel like abandonment all over again. Another is sarcasm or logic. Like, that doesn't make sense, when the person needs understanding or softness, right? So for someone who has maybe a shame wound, this feels humiliating. So they'll shut down or lash out. So that's definitely not any kind of an intervention you want to do. Saying I'm fine, or sweeping things under the rug. And this really, a lot of times this can backfire, right? For someone who needs verbal repair or emotional closure, right? Avoidance is a rupture unto itself by saying it's not a big deal, or I'm fine, or I don't want to talk about it. How to actually repair step by step, though. So let's move into, what can you do once the dust settles, right? You're both more regulated. Let's come up with a clear repair flow of, how do we move into it? Well, we start with self-regulation, because you can't repair if you're still activated yourself. Again, in the guide, I'll have a few ideas of quick sort of self-regulation things that you can do. The next is to acknowledge the impact, not just your intentions, but how your actions actually landed for them, right? If they're telling you, or how they landed, if it was offensive to them or whatever it is, and really owning your own part, right? Clearly, gently, completely, not, but you also, and then you, not that, just ownership. And again, this is on both sides, right? And then you make a bid for reconnection, right? A question, a touch, a word. Can I hold your hand? Right? That can be more healing than like a 15-paragraph speech. Just just a lot of times it's funny, the bids that we do, the non-threatening bids for attention, if we're looking at the work of the Love Lab, Gottman and his wife, where it's like the bids, we're reaching out. And I feel like I see myself doing it with Vic, where it's like, I'll ask a question. A lot of times we're asking a question we know the answer to. We're just bidding for connection, right? Just a sweet or neutral connection. And then we can actually have the conversation, ask what they need to feel repaired, right? If you had your repair kit date earlier, you already know what they need. But that's part of the process, is figuring out, because it's different for everyone, what you need and what someone else needs are different. But this is why knowing our people, understanding each other's backgrounds, talking about what are the things that are activating, what is the thing that makes you feel so vulnerable, what are the actions on the other person's part that end up kicking up your original injuries, the wounds that you have. And it's how we learn each other. And having this repair kit before you need it, it really puts you in a position to manage ruptures in such a better way, because the truth is there's also so much to learn about each other when we come back from conflict or rupture. When we come back together, being able to just talk about what happened is just so important, and it creates so much intimacy, right? Because when we think about it, requires emotional maturity to do this, right? And emotional maturity is not perfection. That's not what we're talking about. It is having the skills to repair, right? You don't need to have a flawless relationship. You need to have a flexible, resilient relationship. And that's what this does. I always talk about adding deposits to the well of goodwill in your relationship, just by being sweet and nice to each other, just by being polite, just by thinking, right? I'm always thinking about Vic. He's always thinking about me. Whether it's like, I'm at the store, do you need anything? Like just always top of mind, right? Vic's happiness, his well-being, him feeling satisfied in life, not just happy with me, but happy overall, satisfied, inspired, curious, all the ways that he is. That's important to me. And so I feel like when you are putting these deposits in the well of goodwill, and one of those deposits is having these conversations, deepening your knowledge of how to love your person or your people well. Because when we understand what the injuries are and what it means to them if we act in a particular way, we would go out of our way not to do that thing. I think that rupture doesn't have to mean ruin, right? It really doesn't. Where mistakes don't mean that love disappears, right? This is when we learn to repair after rupture, it's giving us both the ability to say, wow, that hurt, but I still want us, right? We still matter. I still want this relationship. And that's real love. And it's how intimacy deepens. That's what healthy, sustainable connections, secure connections look like. So I am going to invite you to take action this week. Schedule your repair kit date night. Ask questions, take notes. Listen, you don't need to do it for hours. You really don't. Even 15 minutes can actually change the whole entire course of the way that you fight and how you come back. Because conflict is inevitable for most people, disconnection is optional, and repair is everything, people. So I hope that this episode of The Terri Cole Show added value to your life and to the quality of your relationships. If you loved it, please go leave us a 5-star review. Tell people about it, because the more people who listen, hopefully, the more people have better mental health, the better the world is going to be for all of us. I hope you guys have the most amazing week repairing from any ruptures that you may experience. And as always, take care of you.